everybody, Dr. Dane here, and we are talking about the Spinal Care Kit. And you know, this is something we give to almost every patient to complement their chiropractic care. And I look at the Spinal Care Kit much the way a dentist would look at toothbrush and floss. You know, when you leave the dentist's office, they give you a toothbrush and they give you a floss and they expect you to use it. And if you use it between visits, your checkups with the dentist are going to go much better. Well, this is the Spinal Care Kit. And the reason that we use this is almost everybody suffers from what we call upper and lower cross syndrome. And that's where we have this flexed posture. So the whole goal of the Spinal Care Kit is to improve mobility, is to open that posture back up, to deal with what we call upper and lower cross syndrome. So Noah, in your Spinal Care Kit, by the way, you're going to have what we call the posture prep exercises. And posture prep is just that. It's preparatory to having great posture so that when you do your cardio, you're running, or you do your strength training, you have great alignment. And I always like to say, Noah, that posture follows movement like a shadow. So when you have good posture and you have good alignment, you're going to have good movement patterns. So take us through the Spinal Care Kit, how people are going to use it, what are the tools in the Spinal Care Kit?
All right, now first thing first is you'll notice in our training room we have these posters up. I like to bring folks over to these posters and describe to them what the value of this stuff is, because I notice everybody learns a different way. And so this really helps reinforce the importance of this, because it doesn't matter how great the tools are, if you don't get compliance, the tools are useless. So try to get the buy-in, and this is how we do it. I have a poster here that shows somebody sitting. It's pretty obvious. We don't want to look like this. We don't want to have a hunchback, right? But this is how most of us look when we sit. You can imagine instead of a computer, this might be a phone, this could be a laptop, it could be a TV, all right? But we're in this position all day long, driving. So first thing I always like to describe to people is these balls here. I call it a peanut. Now the peanut is going to be designed, at least the way we use it, to take the curve out of your upper back. Almost everybody's kyphotic. So what do we want to do? We want to take the curve out of their back by laying on the tennis balls. So I like to show people this because this resonates with people on an emotional level. People aren't going to do anything based on an intellectual level. But if you show people how they're going to have a hunchback in 10 years or 15 years, I find that motivates people much more powerfully. So I like to show them these things. Now, that's what this is for. Now, what we do is, you've got 11 joints in your thoracic vertebrae. What we want to do is, we want to open up every one of those joints. So what we do is we have people lay on this ball at the point of each joint. Now, you have to estimate it. Most of us are not going to have the ability to know exactly where it is. But as long as you hit 11 spots, fairly evenly, going up to thoracic, you're probably going to open up all those joints.
So on me, just show, we're laying on it, guys, and just so you guys know where this is being positioned.
Normally what I like to do is, the way I can feel that I'm in the right spot, I actually start below the TL junction. So I actually start right where the ribs, I can start feeling the ribs with the ball. The ribs curve up like this, so you'll notice they connect at the beginning of the thoracic. So if we put the ball right below that joint, we're going to hit the TL junction. Almost always jacked up. So I like to start, L4, L5 if I can. Then from there, 1 inch, the tiniest bit at a time, we work up the back. It will be far better for you to spend 14 minutes and hit 14 spots and hit extra spots than only do it for 8 minutes and miss 4 joints. The 4 joints are probably going to be the joints that are going to mess you up. All right. So we start down right where the rib cage begins. We come all the way up here. There's a little knot at the beginning of your cervical spine. We stop right below that. So if we do this right, it should take 11 minutes. But that's the minimal dosage, minimal effective dosage. You're going to notice as time goes on, when you start to feel how great this is on your back, you might decide to spend more time on the entire spine, or you might find that there are sore spots at various points. You probably want to spend a little extra time on those. So that's how we use the peanut. Now, perfect. After that, I think of the thoracic as sort of the foundation, right? Because I used to build houses, all right? So I want to get my foundation right first. Now, what comes on top of the foundation? The neck. In most cases, what do we see when we look at people's x-rays? We see reversal of the curvature of the cervical spine. So how do we solve that problem? In this case, what we have here, the thoracic had too much curve. The neck does not have enough curve. So what do? We use the dental roll. Now with the dental roll, what we do is we lay someone on the ground. This part is going to go, the short part here is going to go closest to their shoulders. And then based on their x-rays, we're going to put this on the part of their spine which has lost the most curvature. So we can see that on the x-rays. Of course, we want to go with whatever the doc suggests or tells us to do or directs us. That's where we want to put it. A lot of times it's very, very obvious where it should be by the x-rays, but we always want to ask the docs where specifically, because everybody's neck is a little bit different. And this is going to have a profound effect on the shape of your cervical spine. So if you use it every day. Now, with both of these things, as Dr. Dane has said explicitly, I think, just like he does, I think of poor posture as cotton candy. Now, if you eat cotton candy, you're going to go home and brush your teeth right away. Everybody's going to do it, right? Well, when you're sitting at a desk all day, or you're walking around like most of us do with imperfect posture, that you just ate a bunch of cotton candy. Go home and wash the cotton candy out. Now, I'm not saying this will undo all the damage that imperfect posture will cause, but this is by far your first best step, all right? While we are correcting the movement pattern dysfunctions that are leading to the poor alignment. So the first visit I meet people, I don't care what they're doing, 8 weeks of wellness, care plan, buddy pass, whether it's the posture prep program, they learn these two. It's the very first thing I teach them. It's that important. I teach every single person how to do this.
And the minimum dosage on the Denerol, guys, is going to be between 5 and 15 minutes. You're going to start off with 5 every day. Like Noah said, you brush your teeth every day. If you didn't brush your teeth today, you probably know you missed something. Same thing with your Denerol. It's not the time, it's the consistency. Start off with 5 minutes. You're going to work up to 10 to 15 minutes minimum dosage every day.
That's right. And what you're going to find is, with all this stuff, as you correct yourself, as your spine gets in better and better alignment, you'll need to correct it less. The same way, maybe I need to get adjusted 3 times a week because I'm jacked up. Dr. Dane's in perfect health. He's been getting adjusted his entire life. He only has to get adjusted once a week. So be more like Dr. Dane. Get yourself in order so you only have to do a little bit of correctives. Unlike me, I spend more time doing correctives than I actually spend sweating. So we all operate at a different place in the continuum. Find out, ask your doctor, find out where you are on that continuum, and adjust your ratio so that you can do what you want to do your entire life. Now, let's talk about the foam roller. I love the foam roller for a variety of reasons. Number one, we can use the foam roller to take out adhesions in various muscles. And why is this important? Let's talk about lower cross syndrome. If you have adhesions in your quads, let's talk about your rectus femoris, that big, long muscle. It attaches at your ACES in the front of your hip, goes all the way down your thigh, wraps around, your knee goes into the front. If you've got adhesions in your rectus femoris, I see back pain and knee pain just because of adhesions in the one muscle. Right now, what do muscles do? These adhesions, they're splints. They're stopping your joints from moving, right? Now, if you can't move properly and through full range of motion, what does that mean? Your shadow is going to be disrupted, right? So this is why this is so important. So it might just seem like, oh, I'm just rolling around on a piece of foam. No, you're actually preparing your muscles to move optimally, to actually get into perfect posture. Now, you'll notice when you get off the table, you're probably in as best alignment as you're ever going to be. What happens? You get off the table, you start moving with imperfect posture, you lose alignment very, very quickly if you're not moving with perfect posture. Now, what moves your bones? Muscles. So we have to address the muscles. So what do we do? If I see someone who's lower cross syndrome, what do I need to do? I need to stretch out the muscles in the front of the hips. I can stretch the muscles as much as I want, but if there's knots in the muscles, knots don't stretch. You gotta get the knots out doing something else. Once you roll the knot out, then that piece of muscle tissue can stretch. Now you can pull your hips back into alignment. Your muscles can pull your hips back into alignment, and guess what? Now your adjustments are gonna stick much longer. Because if you get off the table and you have hyperlordosis in your spine, guess what? Your back's gonna slowly move out of alignment. In fact, relatively quickly move into subluxation because you're out of alignment, right? Your pelvis is out of alignment. So docs are going to get your spine in alignment. What we do back here in the training room is we get your hips, your shoulders, your head, your knees, your ankles. We get all your muscles into alignment that support the chiropractic adjustment. That's why everything we do back here is chiropractic centered. Everything we do back here is designed to put you into perfect alignment. When you're in perfect alignment, you're going to be healthy. You're going to move really well. You're going to move fast. You're going to feel great. You're going to look great. And that's the key, right? So the docs, what they're going to do is they're going to set your nervous system up. That's why I want people to get adjusted before they come see me. I want their nervous system primed and ready for perfection. Then when they come back here, between the various types of stretching, the adhesion release that we're going to do, as well as the movement pattern corrections, that's what's going to give you that help.
So with the foam roller, Noah, what are the key muscle groups that we want to do the release on? And think about it like a rolling pin on dough, guys. Yep. You are rolling out that dough, releasing those adhesions, getting that muscle much more supple so the joints can move better. So what are the muscles we want to address?
Well, number one, we're gonna go to our functional movement screen. We're gonna find out what that tells us and that's going to lead the charge for us. That's going to make it most obvious where we need to go. Now, in addition to that, what do we know with low? We know that, you know, maybe 95% of people are upper cross and lower cross to some degree. So what do we know? We have a map right here that tells us exactly what we need to do. We know the hips are tight. We got to roll the front of the thighs and the hips. We know the back is tight. We got to roll the lower back. What do we know about up here? We know the chest is tight. We got to hit the pec muscles. And what else do we know? We know this right here down sort of right below your scaps, right in that range. We know we're going to get some tightness in there as well. And up above we're going to get some tightness there. That we might need to address another way. But look at your upper cross and lower cross syndrome. Address the tight muscles. The same way the posture prep is designed to strengthen the weak muscles, the butt muscles, the stomach muscles, the front of the neck, the lower rhomboids there. The posture prep is designed to strengthen those muscles. The stretching is designed to stretch the opposing muscle groups. They're two sides of the same coin. You got to do them both. Too many of us get caught on one side or the other. My yogis who come in, they're flexible, but they're weak as kittens. So although they can get into position, they can't hold it for any length of time. And then I get people like myself who way too tight, right? So maybe I can get into perfect posture for a couple seconds, but I'm so tight it exhausts me to hold the position. So where for someone like me, I need to spend a lot of time stretching, relaxing to mobilize those muscles. And then my yogis have to come in and they have to spend most of their time strengthening. So everything is on an individual basis. That's one of the things we do back here. I think it's so great is the coordination. Because look, I can go by the map and I can go by what I know is going to be good 90-95% of the time, but that's not good enough for me. The reason why I work here is because I want to be right 100% of the time. And that's why I work with Dr. Dane, because Dr. Dane is going to make sure that I have the information I need to be right 100% of the time. So we do our assessment, and then we base our priorities on what the assessment tells us. Now we know, because we've been doing this a long time, that most of the time the priorities are the same. But we're not gonna assume anything,
right?
Because we have tools in place to make really accurate decisions.
So let's talk about the last tool in the Spinal Care Kit, and let's talk about the scapula and upper cross syndrome. This is such an awesome tool. Shoulder pass-throughs, X-Y's, T's, all of the things that, again, are in your posture prep.
Right, so let's
This is not just to strangle your kids, by the way. This is not why we put that tool in there. Although it is effective.
It is very incredibly effective. Now, for this, we can use this tool for many, many things. This is a great travel tool to bring with you wherever you go. We're going to talk about upper cross syndrome. Now, we talked about how we're going to mobilize the chest muscles, right? We want to hit the trap muscle. We want to loosen those guys up. But let's remember, why are they so tight? They're probably so tight because the opposing muscles are so weak, right? That's what I see. I see over and over again. I see tight hips. Well, guess what? Their butts are so weak. They can't stretch their hips actively, right? So that's why we strengthen the butt. Now, for the upper cross, if you're like this all the time, maybe you're too weak to maintain this position even after we've mobilized you. So that's when we do a series of scap retraction movements. I like the L's. I pull them right out of physical therapy. T's, we do X's. You could do W's. I like to attach it to something up top, and I might do some, some different external, internal rotation stuff with it. I do it as my warm-up. I spend like 5 minutes. I just run through it. It's a phenomenal. I love the band pass-through because what's nice about this is you'll notice you have a sticky point in there. But if you use a bar, you only hit the sticking point. If you use a band, you can stretch those muscles throughout the entire range of motion. So yeah, I hit the sticking point, but I also get the parts that aren't as sticky, I can still hit them too. So that's why I love the band for the pass-through. So for a lot of us with upper cross, by the time we get through the mobilizing of the chest, we do some chin tucks to pull it back. We do some LTXs, and what do we see, of course? We see, because they're now situated over their center of mass, now everything below stream gets better. So this is critical. And I also I keep one of these in my lunchbox, by the way. And because, if I want, I can work my hamstrings. I can work anything I need to work to help do my correctives anywhere I need. This is all the attention I'll ever need for my corrective work.
So this just in wrapping up, this toolkit we put together is very different than anything you've ever done in any traditional gym. This is about mobility, it's about posture, it's about alignment. And when you start correcting your posture, your alignment, your mobility starts to improve, your life will change. I always like to say, the ultimate stiffness, it's called rigor mortis, right? And you don't want to be there. Death is rigidity, life is motion, and these tools are designed to improve mobility, improve posture. in your Spinal Care Kit. Work with your trainer at your office, guys. They're going to be your coach to take these and create these skills. So just like brushing and flossing, you know, you go to the dentist, they're going to show you the first time how to brush, how to floss effectively. You do it over and over again, it becomes routine, and that's the way your posture and your mobility changes. No, I appreciate your time and going over these tools. Guys, get after it. Make sure you're going over these tools with your trainer, and then once you develop the skills, you can start to implement these skills and these exercises and posture prep at home.